What's going on, guys? In this video I'm going to be comparing Taipei versus Singapore, um, getting into the airport, what main airports, getting around the city, things to do obviously, which one is the best English speaking city or country, especially for my friends in Europe or America, best time to visit, which is very important as well, safety, food, and of course nightlife. So yeah, let's get into it. So Taipei, capital of Taiwan, is real one of the amazing countries that's really far up on the map towards definitely ending in Asia, towards that in Oceania, not too far from Oceania. And we got Singapore, which is obviously underneath of Malaysia. Let's say we're going from Europe, let's say London, and going all the way to Taipei is definitely the same flight time as going towards Japan, Tokyo, so it's pretty far out. Obviously Singapore is a little closer, but also still very far coming from Europe. So you got Taipei, you got Taiwan. I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, so I apologize. Taiyang International Airport in Taipei. That's the international airport. You'll be flying to it. So either you get direct flights, which would be very far, or you can get a stopover. So actually, a great stopover would be stopping over Singapore. Okay, so you cut a little bit of time. Then from Singapore, you go to Taipei. In Singapore, you got Singapore Changi Airport, which is the main airport, which is the one you'll be flying to. Let's say you're coming from Europe, you'll be flying to that airport. For the new guys, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash that like too. Support the channel. Getting around both places. In Taipei is great. Actually, getting around Taipei is pretty good. They got great public transportation services. But again, depending how long, if you're basing yourself for a month or more, trying to staying there for a long period of time, then obviously you want to do the local transport. But if you go in for like a short period of time, like I was there for like a week, Uber, they have Uber, Bolt, Taiwan taxis are the three major ones to get around. And I use Uber the entire time, and Uber is pretty cheap. Getting around is easy. Locals like to use the Taiwan taxis as well, because there's a lot more of them. So either three will be easy. The locals like to use more of the Taiwan taxi, so I think Taiwan taxi is pretty good, regular. But again, too, you're coming from overseas, you probably have Uber or Bolt in your phone anyway, so you could use that. It's not a big deal. It's not too expensive either, so it's great. And getting around the city is very easy, especially if you're using cabs. They come very frequently, on time. It's very efficient in Taipei. As far as Singapore, same thing, but obviously Singapore part of Malaysia, that part of Asia mainly focus on using Grab. That is the most known one, taxi apps, and they got Ride and they got Taxi Singapore. So yeah, Grab. When I was there, I used getting around. I used a lot more Taxi Singapore actually. My friend, she used Ride. And Grab here and there. So yeah, so Grab it. I mean, after just my last trip to Malaysia, Grab is really good. It's just as good as Uber and Bolt. So I'll just say download. And so I mean, it's up to you if you want to compare prices, but I mean, Grab in that part of Asia is pretty cheap anyway. So you just need to just download Grab and you're good to go. And again, to public transportation in Singapore is very good. Singapore is very efficient. It's a lot more efficient than Kuala Lumpur. Everything is bang on point, clean, and very efficient getting around. So the transportation in Singapore is absolutely fantastic. I would say probably better than Taipei. I don't know, it's very close. I think both of them are very good transportation systems, and it's very easy to navigate. A lot more easy to navigate in Taipei, I think. But yeah, I mean, Singapore, same thing, both easy to navigate and getting around. Things to do, man, this two incredible places to visit and must go destinations. If you haven't been, you definitely got to put it on your calendar or your travel list. So much things to do, but again, it's a destination where you base yourself for like a week. If you want to see different things, unless obviously you want to get into the proper experience and live there for like a month or a couple of months. But my recommendation is like a week. Like I was in Singapore for like 4 days and I pretty much did everything. Taipei, 4 to 5 days, you pretty much do everything as well. It's not massive. There's always things to do in every city, but again, it's not like a Bangkok. You know what I mean? You know, a lot more things to do back. I think a lot more things to do in Hong Kong as well, but it's not one of those cities. But it's still massive things to do again. So like in Taipei, you know, you gotta definitely when you're there, you gotta go see the Taipei 101, which is like second tallest building in the world. Go to the top, see the views. It's amazing. You're gonna be a little bit disappointed, but obviously it makes sense because there's a huge cage around the top view, getting to the top floor. Obviously because obviously they don't want people jumping off the building, right? So it's kind of protected. So the views are kind of like shady. You can't really you don't really get amazing views, but yeah, you definitely gotta see that. You gotta definitely do a hike, go to the peak where you can see Taipei at night. It's absolutely incredible. It's by taxi ride. It's like about 30 to 40 minutes, a little bit out of the city. Then you just hike up the hill and the mountains. It's absolutely fantastic. I do that. Of course, going out, you know, shopping. Shopping is actually really good in Taipei. And it's a great vibing city, man. A lot of people speak English as well, which is great. And of course, Singapore, you got so many things to do. Singapore. So let me compare if you got 4 days on both places. I think if you got 4 days in Singapore, you have a little bit more fun and more things to do, I would say. Because, you know, in Singapore, you got, you know, Sentosa Island, which you literally just to spend a day. It's like a big, huge amusement island. You got a beach. So you can just spend the entire day there. Then, you know, you can go to they got like the historical museums. They got you got obviously nightlife, food places, of course. You could do a night safari, which is dope as well. The daytime, just move around and just see the city, man. But like I said, 4 days, you pretty much done Singapore. Taipei, you know, Taipei is great again too, but you know, it's great nightlife. So some days you might just need to chill because it's a heavy nightlife in Taipei. So the best time to visit, we'll start with Taipei, is there's 2 periods. It's February to April. April really warms up, so it's actually really nice in April. I went in end of the year. Then you got December to June. I went over there for the end of the year. Actually, it's fun enough. I did Singapore, then I did Taipei. I went there for New Year's. So my friend out there was playing out there. So went out there for the New Year's, brought in the New Year in Taipei, and it was dope. It was pretty warmish in the day, but I needed a jacket. So again, the weather can shift. It could be a little drizzly, cloudy. So it's not super hot, but it's still good temperatures actually. February to April, that period of time. Then you got October to December. As far as Singapore is a great location, especially for that location. It's pretty much an all round year destination. So pretty much meaning you can go any time of the year, and it's pretty good weather. So but the main standout months will be December to June. So again, if you go December, you go for the bringing the new year will be amazing. But again, to that December and January period will be really peak and very expensive. So bear that in mind. But after that, you know, June, after, you know, May, June, it really peaks up in temperature. But again, too, one thing about Singapore, Malaysia period, there's loads of rains. It's like a tropical area type place, so it just rains. Even in peak summer, it would just randomly rain. Same thing when I was in Singapore. It was a beautiful day. Went to Sentosa Island, was there chilling. Then all of a sudden, just started raining like crazy thunderstorm. Then an hour later, cleared up, sun again. So it's going to be slight tropical rain. So always bring an umbrella and just be aware of that. English speaking, like again for you Europeans, Americans, what place better speaks English? You're in a treat because both places absolutely speak amazing English. Pretty much everyone speaks English fluently, so you have no issues communicating wherever you go throughout Singapore, wherever you go throughout Taipei. Realistically, it's great. Pretty much everyone speaks English. It's easy to communicate, and in Taipei they're a lot, in my opinion, they're a lot nicer. In Taipei, very welcoming, very cool if you need help. It's very westernized. Taipei is very westernized. It's kind of like a American Asia, like in my opinion, very westernized, very Americanish. So a lot of people speak fluent English. So getting around Taipei, you have no issue with English. Pretty much everyone speaks English. Same thing with Singapore, everyone speaks English. So you have no problem either place when it comes to English speaking. Safety. Well, another great destination for both places. Both places, safety-wise, amazing. I'm absolutely safe. Both places. Taipei did not see one issue. Did not have a run-in. I didn't have to like double check my pockets. You know what I mean? Like going out. I mean, very safe. Again, too, like any other country, you have to be smart about it. You have to, have your head on the swivel. You got to be responsible. You got to be respectful. Don't get crazy drunk and be sloppy, right? So always know your surroundings. But as far as just safety in general, I think Taipei was very safe. I didn't see one issue. I actually have a fabulous time, and I felt very safe at night, in the daytime, whatever. It was pretty safe. Actually, it's very safe. Same thing in Singapore. No issues again too. Didn't see any issues. Didn't even see any arguments. Very safe. Very safe. At night, in the daytime, I mean, women, men, absolutely safe. It's safe for all parties. Whereas you're there on your own as a male, there on as a female. You're solo traveling. You're going as a couple, going as a family. Both places are very safe, so you have no issues there. So to have that in mind, where you're gonna be fine. Also, remember again too, with everywhere there is bad people wherever you go. I mean, there's that small amount, right? So you always gotta be careful. Food. This is a tough one, because I actually tried for the first time proper like hot pot, right? They have a hot pot, and it was amazing. My friend took me to a couple of hot pot places, and it was absolutely fabulous. And it was like my favorite thing to have in Taipei. Like hot pot, it was hot pot was amazing. Like you cook, like you boil it, comes to a huge temperature, and you just cook your food. It was absolutely fantastic. Put your spices in there. I absolutely loved that. So I loved that about Taipei, and I thought the food in Taipei was very good. Really good. Fresh fruit, so really good. But again, I would have to lean to Singapore. I would have to lean to Singapore because Singapore has more of a mesh of cultures. You got Indian, Chinese, Malaysians, and it's all mesh. So the food with variety, it comes in different, so many variations and so many fusions. So depending on your taste buds, if you like very spicy, if you like mild spice, whatever it is, you like more Indian food, you like more Asian food, there's different blends and fusions for you. So the reason Singapore wins is because they have a lot more selection than in Taipei. And at Taipei, the food is amazing as well. Nightlife, good old nightlife. Of course, you go to Taipei, you go to Singapore, you want to go out. I mean, what's the point going all that way and not going out? So you got to go out, you got to experience it. But this one's hands down is Taipei. I mean, Taipei blows Singapore out the water. I mean, Taipei night out is mad. It's one for the ages, boy. There's so many options, so many clubs. Man, they cater to so many music. There's hip hop clubs, R&B clubs, reggae, rock, whatever you use, Latin clubs, whatever you want, you can find somewhere in Taipei. And there's so many selections, either downtown or around the city. There's so many places. They love their dancing, they love their hip hop, R&B. Yeah, you're not going to be short of going out. I mean, the night scene is pretty big. The Taiwanese, man, they love to party. One thing they love to party, like the Chinese love to party too. So they love to drink and love to party. So you're never gonna have no shorts of partying. So Taipei is really good. Singapore as well, you have loads of partying, but Singapore is more selected areas, and it's smaller areas. So it's not spread out around the city, and there's not so much selection. There's a couple of places, good, but for me, Taipei wins because it has so much variety in so many different places. And you literally can one night go one place, go the other night go to the next place and stuff like that. Where Singapore is not as much selection, but fun as well. Fun. I had a fun time. But if I wanted to really go somewhere with everything and really party, do some partying, Taipei for sure. Taipei for sure. And boo, beautiful women. No disrespect to Singapore. Singapore has got beautiful women too. But Taipei, the women are beautiful out there, boy, and they're fun, and they speak English. So it's a lot more fun in Taipei. Beautiful women. So I'll give the edge for Taipei for sure. So in conclusion, 100% you gotta visit both places. But if you stuck with like, okay, I only have one decision or one place I can only go to, then I would say Singapore. But if you can, which would be the better idea, if you could do two, you kill two birds with one stone. You just, especially if you're coming from Europe, do Singapore for a couple of days and do Taipei for a couple of days, or go, well, it probably are better of doing that way, because I mean, to go all the way to Taipei is pretty long. So you just cut off the journey and go to Singapore for a couple of days, have a good time, then go to Taipei for a couple of days, and then come back, probably stay one more day, then head home. But the perfect scenario is do both, because they're amazing. But I lean a little bit to Singapore because obviously English speaking is easy to get around the city. It's a lot more compact, so you can pretty much do everything very easily. I'm not a huge party anymore, so Singapore is more my vibe. Whereas a couple of years before, I'd definitely say Taipei. I mean, I had an amazing time in Taipei. I had an amazing time. I had a lot of fun. And of course, because food, right? A lot more selection of food. So you can really, if you're a foodie, you can really dabble in trying different kinds of food. And it's a shorter plane ride from London. So all these things, I would lean to Singapore. So I think Singapore wins. But again, to no disrespect to both places, I'm definitely not down in both places. I think both places are amazing, and both places you definitely have to visit. But if I have to pick one, it would be Singapore. I hope this video helped, and I gave you some recommendations, and I pointed you in the right direction, and give you a little bit of heads up before you go, especially if you're new to either one of these countries or places or cities. And if you did like the video and you got some useful information, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, especially if you're new. Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that like button to support the channel, so I could bring you more videos like this and just give you some help, so you can help you navigate these places more easily. So till next time, peace.